Hey, it's John. This is what we call a new top, where you take something and you put a new opening on it. I had already recorded today's episode to accommodate my teaching schedule yesterday, but just there's a few things out there that I didn't want to let go another day. Cracked wrote a really nice piece about Rob Reiner and his influence on comedy. Excerpting from the Cracked piece, they wrote, "It couldn't have been easy to be the son of Carl Reiner, creator of The Dick Van Dyke Show, comedy partner to Mel Brooks, and frequent director of the early movies of Steve Martin. But somehow Rob Reiner not only met his father's legacy, but arguably surpassed it. It started with young Reiner being cast as Hollywood's resident hippie in several 1960s sitcoms like The Beverly Hillbillies, Batman, and the long-haired peace lover who turns Gomer Pyle onto the counterculture. Those roles led to Reiner beating out Richard Dreyfuss and Harrison Ford for the part of Archie Bunker's meathead son-in-law Mike Stivic on All in the Family. I didn't realize those guys were up for it. Wow. Rob won 2 Emmy Awards for delivering liberal counterpunches to Archie's bigoted diatribes. I'm shocked that hasn't come back in modern times. It just seems kind of perfect to have an Archie Bunker-like character and somebody in the Mike Stivic role. Maybe it's too much of a shadow to cast, but we've brought everything else back. I was really surprised before the Biden administration, I'll put it that way, that it didn't come back, and I'm kind of surprised it's not back now. Crack writes, "For comedy fans, Reiner's lasting contribution will be This is Spinal Tap, the mockumentary that cut so close to the satirical bone that many early audiences thought the band was the genuine article. The director's underrated deadpan performance as Marty DiBergi made him the perfect straight man foil. Reiner's movie wasn't the first mock documentary, but was the most influential, inspiring the Christopher Guest films as well as a generation of straight-to-camera sitcoms like The Office." On his website, Ricky Gervais says, "It was a big thing for me. When I first saw This is Spinal Tap in about 1983, I immediately watched it again. I can't remember a film I've done that with before or since, to get so deep into the genre that they were spoofing the details of human behavior, and then to do it all in someone else's native accent just blew me away. There's just a few things that go to comedy heaven." While I've got you, a few other things in the news. Amy Schumer did announce her divorce over the weekend. Really weird statement. I'll dive into that tomorrow. I've got some thoughts about it. Watched 2 comedy specials, and boy, if you like the comedy stock market segment on Friday, it was on point. I had warned you all that I didn't think America was ready for Sarah Sherman's Sarah Squirm persona, and boy, according to the conversation in the Facebook group, Daily Comedy News Podcast group, people were not feeling Sarah Squirm. I put it on, and I was like, this is pretty good. What's the problem with everybody? And 20 minutes in, it just fatigued me. It's just a lot. It's not bad. It's not horrific like George Lopez's Amazon special. It's just a lot coming at you, and your brain has to work really hard to watch it. And then she went into a routine that just dragged for me, and I have comedy ADD, and I wound up pushing that exit button on the remote and watched 2 episodes of The Diplomat. The new season's pretty good. Then on Sunday night, I was footballed out, and I watched Robby Hoffman special on Netflix. Okay, that one is fantastic. I'm not sure where it ranks, but it's in the conversation in that top tier. So my top tier, if you listen to Saturday's episode, was Marin, and then Kevin Hart and Matt Rife. Robbie's special is in the conversation with Kevin Hart and Matt Rife. Now, those two are probably pound for pound funnier, but Robbie, same thing I said about Kevin Hart versus Sarah Silverman, Robbie is doing higher art. It might be the second best special of the year. At worst, it's 4th. If you haven't watched Robby Hoffman on Netflix, do it. All right, so those are new thoughts. And now let's join the originally recorded Tuesday episode.
Calaroga Shark Media.
Hey there, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Anthony Jeselnik spoke with Vulture about his book club that he's starting. Now, we'll get into that tomorrow, because I like when comedians mix it up. The question here for Jeselnik was, what do you think about Bill Burr's year? Now, that's interesting phrasing, because I said on Sunday's podcast, right, I think Bill Burr had the worst year in comedy. So it's interesting that that's out there beyond just me saying it. Vulture said, I think he's taken the biggest hit out of the Riyadh Comedy Festival thing. Jeselnik said, oh, I've been really surprised by how much it kept talking about it. I was shocked to see his name on it. I got offered this thing way in the beginning, and I just saw the name and the rules and was like, nope, absolutely not. I was not thinking this would be a real thing. I was thinking, this isn't going to happen. Why would you say yes to this? And then I saw the announcement and realized everyone said yes to this. Everyone seems embarrassed, but Burr is doubling and tripling down, whereas Pete Davidson was just like, I said I'd go and I saw the money, and then people leave him alone. But with Burr, it's insane to me that he would be so dumb. It's just shocking that he didn't know what would come for him. And then to be fighting with everyone, screaming at Marc Maron publicly, it's just wild to me. I haven't talked with him at all, but I've just been stunned. He's the one name that stuns me. No one's like, oh, Kevin Hart, wow. And it wasn't just defensive. He came out and was like, they're just like us. They've got the Timberland and the Applebee's. He was doing as much PR for them after the fact as he possibly could, which was like, what did you think the money was for? It wasn't just for the event. Jeselnik revealed how much he was offered to do it, and seems like this is a real number because it's the same number Tim Dillon gave. Jeselnik said it was a lot of money. I want to say it was around $350,000. And listen, I bought a house. I could have used it, but it doesn't matter if it was $350 million. I couldn't have done it. Comedy is so capitalistic, and I think the people that have podcasts just didn't want to miss out on that money on the table, and then they didn't realize how big a thing it was going to be. And it's a lot of money, but not that much money, you know? Not enough that you couldn't make it up in 2 shows. For Burr, it seems like he's trying to set up going back, like an annual once a year I perform there, part of his tour. That's repulsive. Jeselnik continued, I thought that 2 weeks later no one would care, but when I mentioned the Riyadh Comedy Festival on stage, people go nuts. They love it as a punchline. They want your opinion. I don't think that's going away anytime soon. People who have no idea about the journalist killed just want to hear about this stupid cash grab. I wonder how long it lasts, and I'll be surprised if Burr's next special isn't addressing most of it. Awesome! I hope Burr fires back. Johnny Mac likes when the comedians mix it up. Sketchfest coming up January 15th through February 1st. They've announced some new additions. Bob Odenkirk will join the cast of Kids in the Hall for the Brain Candy 30th Anniversary Live Read, a special stage performance featuring live music that celebrates the cult classic and the humor fans have loved for decades. Nora Dunn and Melanie Hutzel will join Ellen Cleghorn, Rachel Dratch, Robin Duke, Anna Gasteyer, Lorraine Newman, Sherry O'Terry, and Julia Sweeney in the Women of SNL Tribute, a special program honoring the groundbreaking performers who shaped the show's comedy legacy. Some of the folks previously announced include Joel Kim Booster, Janine Garofalo, The Groundlings, John Hodgman, Eugene Merman, Adam Pally, Chelsea Peretti, Kristen Shaw, Jenny Slate, Robert Smigel, Paul F. Tompkins, the UCB, and many others. Michelle Wolf was on the Good One podcast. She talked about putting clips on Instagram and said, yeah, I used to get paid thousands of dollars to do these shows. Now more people watch them, and I get zero, but I understand. I do it in the hopes that I gain people who are like, I like her comedy. If you like this joke, then hopefully you'll buy a ticket or you watch the special or whatever else I might be doing next. And to be quite honest, I'm at this point, I'm just trying to amass a following. And sometimes I put out jokes and people are like, ugh, unfollow. And I'm like, good, get out. It's not for you. I want my audience to be people that like my comedy. They don't have to love every joke I do, but I don't want to have to edit myself for my followers. She talked about the time she hosted the White House Correspondents' Dinner and said, I think if I could do it all over again, I would have been meaner. I would have gone harder. The jokes I said about Sarah Sanders weren't actually mean. Everyone said I made fun of her appearance. I definitely did not. I complimented her makeup and said she told lies, which she does. I knew the points I was making, and I was very happy to make those points, but I also feel like I was fairly restrained. Had I known what the reaction was going to be and how strongly people would have reacted, I would have gone harder. If you're going to get mad at me for jokes, then let them actually be mean jokes. As far as roast goes, what I said about Sarah Sanders was very tame. Wolf continued, in a normal correspondence dinner, the comedian makes fun of the president, and the president gets up and makes fun of everybody, including the comedian, but that didn't happen. It was just me up there making fun of Sarah Sanders, who was there in place of the president. I'd much rather tell jokes to someone's face than behind their back. John Oliver poked fun at President Trump's $300 million ballroom. Oliver was at an event that highlights the 12 million children in the United States that grow up in poverty each year. Oliver said at the Comic Relief Live event in New York City, it's wild to get a news alert saying that President Donald Trump just demolished the East Wing of the White House. 30 years ago, every element of that sentence would have sounded completely insane. Nobody gives a hoot about ballrooms, apart from people who like ballrooms, who are all jerkholes. He used some alternate language there. Sarah Sherman, boy, she's out there promoting things like she's almost like at Kevin Hart levels of like, okay, tap the brakes. Your special come out. You don't have to talk to everybody. Relax. She spoke to Grub Street and said, I wake up at 10 a.m. and I force my boyfriend to make coffee at gunpoint. And then she wrote, yeah, boyfriend. Sorry, ladies. I have 2 cups before realizing I haven't had any water, so I fill up a Stanley Cup and drink the entire thing in one sitting. I don't love Stanley Cups, but Bowen Yang gave me a wicked one he got for being in the movie, and if Bowen gives me something, it becomes one of my most prized possessions. On this particular day, she was off from SNL and not touring. which made her happy. She explains, at work, I eat approximately 85 pounds of chips and Diet Coke every 5 seconds. By noon, I drink approximately 100 more cups of coffee and only realize I've had too much once I start feeling a crazy panic attack coming on. Not a capital P, capital A panic attack, just a small, low-grade Jewish one. I usually have about 3 to 4 small Jewish panic attacks a day. I'm starving, so I eat some weird overnight oats thing I found at a fancy supermarket called Mush that randomly has 15 grams of protein in it. Why are all the girlies addicted to protein all of a sudden? Did everyone become a bodybuilder overnight? What am I missing here? Jimmy Carr revealed that his mother's death left him with an unhealthy relationship with food, and how the fear of dying young drives his obsession with dieting and weight. Jimmy Carr, who is 53, was very close to his mother, Nora. She passed away at age 57 after a battle with pancreatitis. Jimmy explained, my mother didn't look after herself, was maybe a little bit overweight. She was unhealthy, and then she got sick, and then she died. And that's not lost on me in terms of I'm very particular about trying to keep myself trim. I don't think I have an eating disorder, but I certainly have a strange relationship with food. Jimmy says he does not exercise as much as I could. I'd like to do more, but it's finding the time. Jimmy's playing an arena show in Manchester tonight. He says he's looking forward to spending Christmas with his family. He explains, I've got little kids and stuff, so it's kind of joyful. It's a great time of year. I worry that people are a bit isolated, but Christmas brings those little interactions. You go to the carol service, you go to the midnight mass, doesn't matter whether you believe or not. It's just nice to sing a song. A partner on Trilla told The Cut, I'm someone who wants to fix my life in 5 easy steps, but I also have a very loud existential voice that says there are no 5 steps. None of us knows what we're doing. We're all floundering. Those are 2 opposing forces for me. Aparna, who's fantastic, has a new special out on Dropout. It is called Hopeful Potato. Hannibal Buress, he's just back from the Riyadh Comedy Festival, and the city of Miami apparently has agreed to settle a lawsuit. The lawsuit alleged that one of the Miami police officers falsely arrested Hannibal Buress in 2017 on a bogus disorderly intoxication charge. Reports are that Hannibal and the city's attorneys decided to settle the case. Back in 2017, Hannibal was walking to his hotel from a bar after a night of drinking with some friends. As the story goes, Hannibal asked the police officer if he could give the officer $20 to call him an Uber ride to his hotel because his phone battery was dead. The officer declined. Then something happens and the police officer orders Hannibal off the street. Hannibal went into a bar looking for a charger. The officer followed in, told him to leave for being, quote, too drunk. As the story goes, outside, the police officer activated his body camera, capturing the encounter that led to Hannibal's arrest. Hannibal apparently said to the body-worn camera, hey, what's up? It's me, Hannibal Buress. This cop is stupid as F. The police officer cautioned Buress to leave. Camera footage released by the police department has Hannibal saying into the camera, hey, what's up, YouTube? The police officer says, all right, put your hands behind your back. Hannibal arrested for misdemeanor disorderly intoxication. That charge was later dropped. 3 years later, Hannibal filed a federal lawsuit against the city, the police department, and 2 police officers, alleging wrongful arrest, some appeals and stuff, and now it seems that they have settled it. That's your comedy news for today. See you tomorrow.